On this week's show, we're discussing PlayStation closing down Bluepoint, Pokémon Fire Red and Leaf Green are dropping this month, Ubisoft has confirmed more Far Cry and Assassin's Creed, as if they'd do anything else nowadays, and Kratos is really bringing sexy back. All that and much, much more on this week's GamerGuild Podcast. Good game, everyone, and welcome back to the GamerGuild Podcast, your weekly show where we round up all the week's video game stories and news for your listening or viewing pleasure right here on youtube.com/GamerGuildTV and up there in the digital cloud on your podcast preference of choice. Your podcast players for this week are the recovering still, Mr. Richie, and the Arcane Rogue, Mr. Chris. How are you doing?
I have slightly dry lips. But I'm off for a week for half term, so pros and cons, but no.
Dry lips, but off work. So
off work, and next week is the week Resident Evil Requiem comes out, so excited to get something new, AAA. I haven't really played anything new this year yet.
Yeah.
I've dabbled in some things, but not yet, so yeah, looking forward to it. And yeah, nice to have you back as well after last week. Tom stepped in.
He did.
Stepped up.
He stepped in at the 11th hour to bail me out.
He did, and he enjoyed it as well. He had a great week.
As long as I'm still full of this cold that I just can't seem to shift, and then I'd had a bit of a horrible week at work, and some personal stuff going on to do with my house. Needless to say, I've been quite angry about my house situation at the moment. So it got to Friday, and it was like I barely slept. I was like, I can't face sitting down to record. I'm just not up for it. So luckily Tom was fit and ready to step in. So thank you, Tom.
Certainly was. Just before we get into it, state of play, anything that stood out massively for you, for the audience? I know me and Tom broke it down for practically the full show last week because there was a lot of stuff. Anything?
I don't think there was anything new that I didn't know about that really jumped out as an absolute must play. Kena was a nice surprise, but yeah. I never finished the first Kena, and that's while it looks amazing, and it's very much a game I'm interested in. This is more in the kind of realm of when I get round to it rather than a must play. Ghost of Yotei Legends looks awesome for an online game, but again, I'm not massively motivated to rush and play it because we've been online.
Yeah.
I was a bit disappointed in Control's gameplay, to be honest. In Control Resonant, I thought it just looked like the melee combat lacked a bit of weight. There was something about it just didn't grip me at all. I was a bit watching it. I was just like, oh, okay, it looks a bit flat almost. I know they were saying it's early footage and stuff. It was quite meant to be alpha, but it's still due for this release this year.
Have you started Control 1 yet?
I haven't. It's still on my to-do list, but truthfully, because I haven't been feeling great, I've just been quite happy playing Fallout.
Oh, Fallout. Okay, which one?
Yeah, 4. I started playing Fallout 4 as a breather from Octopath, and then I never went back to Octopath.
It's what happens. That's how it gets you.
I'm still that one trophy away from Octopath, but truthfully, I think I'm done with it. Oh. It's such a big step up between everything else and this final boss. And the only way I'm going to have a chance is to spend hours and hours and hours and hours grinding. I reckon that I probably need a good 5 to 10 hours of grinding before it's worth even trying it again. And I just cannot be bothered. There's better things to do with your life, so... I haven't got to the point where I've actually installed it because part of me is still thinking, should I just occasionally go and chip away a bit? But yeah, I haven't went back to it yet. Maybe one day. But yeah, as for the state of play, I think it was decent. Though I think there was a nice array of games, but nothing that I wasn't already aware of jumped out to me as going, "Ooh, what's that?" What about yourself?
So after last week, we obviously had the announcement of Rayman 30th anniversary.
Yeah.
So I've played a little bit more of that. We'll get into the controversy around Rayman 30th anniversary, which I did call out during the live stream broadcast, because it picked up for me, and we'll get into it more. But yeah, I played a bit of Rayman, and I picked up the Walking Dead, Telltale's The Walking Dead, on PlayStation Vita, because I did play it on, must have been PlayStation 3, right, originally, and then probably port to PS4 if memory serves. So I'd played it originally, and it's been that long. I thought I wanted that kind of, I think I said in last week's episode, I wanted that trophy, that platinum trophy, where I knew it was a guarantee, which it is with most Telltale games. You just finish the game and you pretty much have it, so there's no like heavy lifting to do. But I fancied something portable. I haven't used my Portal in a while because I finished Indiana Jones on the big screen. I've done a couple of stream captures here at my PC, and I just sort of fancied something portable. So I picked up Season 1, added the Vita one to my cartridge. I've picked up a couple of Vita games this past week to add to the collection. And it's all there. And you know what? Story still holds up. Amazing characters. The kind of back and forth between your decisions having like real material impact on the group and the narrative. Really, really lend itself well. Second thing, similar to when we covered The Last of Us, playing through the story again with Lee and Clementine, now having a daughter of my own. My word, it made every decision harder. The finale was, I was an emotional wreck. I had to at one point I think I put it down because you know when it gives you the few seconds to make a decision,
yeah,
and it gives you like 4 or 5 ones right at the very end, and I was like, oh, what words do I want to pick for this moment? And I was like, I need to like pause it and just compose myself before I make this decision. I even played the 400 Days DLC as well, which is included. And I remember it now. It kind of sets up the story for the start of Season 2 and such, which was quite interesting. And then, disappointingly, I looked at getting Season 2. Doesn't have a Platinum trophy. Because apparently Telltale had some, the way PlayStation stacked the trophies in a weird way.
Yeah.
Season 2 initially flagged in the system as DLC for Season 1 or something along them lines. So PlayStation's rules do not allow you to add a second Platinum trophy to an existing trophy list. So basically Season 2, by default, the max you could get was a gold trophy because of some behind-the-scenes rubbish. So Season 2 of The Walking Dead doesn't have a Platinum trophy. Is it Season 3 or was it just called the final season or the final chapter?
The final, something like that, yeah.
Yeah, that one does. Obviously, all the other games do, Wolf Among Us and other such Telltale, but for some reason, Season 2 of their most critically acclaimed game doesn't have it. So I was like, I want it for my collection, but just like I was in a good vein of form, I was enjoying it. It's got me into zombies just in time for Resident Evil, so I'm in that kind of like walker, zombie, ripping people's throats out kind of mood. Yeah, really thoroughly enjoyed it. Enjoyed a bit of Rayman. Did go back and play Rayman on my PlayStation 1 because of the stuff we'll get into. And then I realised I had it for the Vita as well via a PSP port to the Vita. So I played it on the Vita instead. But yeah, so a little bit of dabble in prep for Requiem.
Yeah.
And looking forward to the week ahead when it finally drops.
Nice. So I'm guessing this time next week you'll be hearing all about Chris's first impressions of Resident Evil Requiem. Do you reckon you'll get the story done in a week? Because Resident Evil stories tend not to be that long.
Well, I'm in two minds between streaming the story, because on the channel I've done Biohazard and I've done Requiem, and I feel like it's almost like it's in the channel's DNA now that I play Resident Evil games here. So I'm kind of like, I think I'll do a first look. And it probably be a lengthier first look because I'm not going to just play for an hour and then put it down. I'm probably going to want to commit like a good chunk of time to get into that world. And then I think over the weekend it launches, it's probably just see how I am with like time and tiredness and if I can be bothered to stream it all, because it's a lot more energy and it's a different type of energy doing a live stream. So you'll find out by this time you listen to this, I'll probably have decided.
But, I know that it's hard to commit to like. Well,
like
it's hard to commit to like playing through a story game once a week for the channel. Never mind, that's the problems I've had with Pokemon and things like Zelda in the past, where I've been doing quite well and then things happen and I miss a week or two and then suddenly it's broken. Then I might have another good run of a couple of weeks and then never mind trying to commit to like every night.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be against like solo recording another series at some point for the channel. But I don't think at this time around I wouldn't make the same mistake I did with Pokemon and Zelda. I think I would wait until I finished recording pretty much the entire series and then go, right, I'm announcing this, I'm working through the edit.
Yeah. And then accidentally hit delete on the folder.
Yeah. I think the way I would do it going forward, I'd probably like get a couple of episodes, have it all recorded, have a couple of episodes edited, and then kind of go shadow drop episode 1. And probably maybe chuck episode 2 in for members as well.
Yeah.
And then
speaking of,
have a weekly thing going on. Yep.
Speaking of members, got an update.
We have.
For our guild heroes. We felt that in recent weeks we've mentioned that the kind of member subscriber drops count. So we've kind of looked at our membership tiers across YouTube. So if you are a guild hero, you support the channel. I know we said last week the free feeds on audio channels and such is one thing. We've introduced a new tier, but because of the YouTube system, you can't just kind of go in and amend and edit. Probably because there's money involved, which I kind of get. But yes, we've currently got bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. No surprises. But in between all that, without changing it too much, we've added a new shiny bronze tier. So I was trying to think of, like, do I just put in a random element, a precious metal that's between there? And I was like, nah, it's going to ruin it too much. So I thought I'll go with more of a joke one. So we've got the shiny bronze tier now at £1.99. So you can support the channel from as little as 99p. And we do, of course, appreciate anyone who supports us that little bit extra. But now, from as little as 99p up to £1.99, if you do so wish, you'll help get early access to the channel, stickers and badges next to your name, content early as well, retro looks, Richie's Fest Plays and such, as he's mentioned. But more importantly, it helps us support us. It supports our growing channel here. And it gets content out to you on different feeds and channels as best possible we can. So yes, you've got 99, $1.99, $4.99, and then upwards to like ridiculous tiers that I never actually expect anyone to subscribe to, because that would be silly money. Of course, don't want to deter you from doing it, but
if you feel like being silly, you can though.
Feel like being silly.
That's why they exist.
Indeed, they do. But yes, just wanted to get that out there.
Yeah. Since we're getting out there, Chris, why don't we get to the
graciously gathered GamerGuild Gazette, aka the news.
The news, and as always, the news is brought to you by our aforementioned members, which you can join for as little as 99p on the bronze tier, or £1.99 on the shiny bronze tier. If you like your bronze just a little bit shinier,
yeah, if you're a bit of a magpie,
but you're not quite willing. You don't want to commit to the silver, but you don't want the dull bronze. You can go shiny now.
That's it. That's it. All you bronze members, like, yeah, just think about it. Think about it. Who doesn't want something shinier?
We love you all the same. Oh, but
we do. Unlike PlayStation.
Yes. First up news story. PlayStation hates their own game studios because Blueprint, Chris, and the Doc.
I corrected that twice today already.
Bluepoint Games has been shut down.
Reset. I mean, it's another studio if we didn't know about Bluepoint Games.
Yeah. So, Bluepoint, what's been going on?
I'm almost at a loss for words with this story. So, yeah, it came out. So they had the state of play last week. Yes, and everyone thought this is top quality. Again, we broke it down last week. Fantastic. And then out of nowhere on, was it Wednesday this week? I think it was Wednesday. All of a sudden, put out a statement saying Bluepoint's closed. Or we're closing Bluepoint down. 70 of their employees will try and find them work elsewhere. But ultimately, they're closing it down. And it's seen massive backlash. Rightly so, in my opinion. Of course, for those who don't know who Bluepoint Games are, this is the studio that was acquired back in 2021 after making multiple notable remakes for the PlayStation Studios. They worked on initial parts of things like Shadow of the Colossus. They did the Demon's Souls remake, which was a launch PS5 game, and to this day, still one of the best-looking games on PlayStation 5. They handled things in the past like the God of War Trilogy collection, which we talked about God of War last week. They did the original one. They did the wonderful Nathan Drake Uncharted collection as well, and a couple of things in between. And I think you and me, for years now, have always put them on this pedestal of, like, they are Sony's prime
they're the remake
talent.
and remake people. Like, give them everything they need to, like, give them all the big franchises and tell them go redo it. Like, anytime we've talked about, say, redoing Uncharted 1 or something like that, it's always Bluepoint that we're pointing towards.
Yeah. And then if you recall a couple of years back, they were quoted as saying that they're working on a new project, this new solo project. I think we're all thinking, this is great. They've kind of cut their teeth on several amazing projects. They've worked on some fantastic games, stories, like really to kind of learn and hone their craft on not only the PS5 and PS4, but then just like working within the amazing studio stories that are told by Sony traditionally. And you think like that talent, it must craft you in a way where you get your own project. You must take so many of those learnings and be able to put them into practice. And then, of course, we found out back at, I think it was the beginning of last year, that actually they were working on some kind of live service God of War title, and that got cancelled. Yeah, which no one asked for, and that got cancelled, which meant they went back to the drawing board. Similar to Sony Bend, who were the Days Gone studio, they were working on a live service game, which has also been cancelled. So now we're at this kind of point where we sit here thinking, what was Sony's plan for the studio? They clearly utilised them to the best of their ability. They practically promoted them internally to a bigger franchise in the vein of God of War, and then out of nowhere, they just closed them down.
All this comes, I think, from Sony's misguided shift to move their first party big IP towards more games as a service stuff, and ultimately, after the God of War live service title got shut down, Bluepoint, unfortunately, have not managed to get any other pitch approved. We don't know whether they're pitching before it got shut down, or after, or during, but basically, they got no pitch approved, which meant that Sony have the studio that is currently not working on any games. So they shut them down. Despite the fact other than this podcast have pitched many, many title games that we'd love to see Bluepoint work on.
Yeah, I mean, with them having the studio in-house, even as like, it would take the littlest effort to go, right, what have we got in the tank? How about getting the Infamous games off PlayStation 3? You've got two amazing titles, PlayStation classics, sat there, ripe for the picking. Nothing. You've got the Resistance trilogy. PlayStation doesn't have any shooters in the first party, outside of, I guess, Marathon and Destiny technically now. Go do that. Just spend a few years, polish up the Resistance franchise, repackage it, a Resistance trilogy. Sony first party trilogy out there. Or, what else have we got in the tank? Killzone trilogy. Go take that. Same thing as Resistance. Go take that trilogy, port it over, because at the moment you can only play them via PlayStation 3 or the cloud streaming service, which we know the uptake on that's quite low. So it blows my mind that you would have such a talented studio who've honed their craft in remasters and remakes,
and you just
to then
use them.
Screw them over from a management standpoint by going, do this God of War live service game, which I'm sure at the beginning they were thrilled to be working on an IP like God of War, to get to make their own thing, for then to pull that back because of Sony's botched live service agenda, and then go, you know what, we don't need this studio anymore, and just to knock it on the head. It's just a shocking indictment of how poorly Sony have managed this generation.
What I think Sony have done is, because they've moved the live service and had to walk back on it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I feel like because on their books that will be absolutely disastrous financially. So what I think they're trying to do is they're trying to consolidate their studios by closing studios or lots of layoffs left, right, and centre. But then also playing it safe with what they're greenlighting, because the books are looking bad, so they don't want to take risks by giving Bluepoint probably freedom to make a game right from the ground up. And they're probably looking at a lot of the remasters and stuff that they could work on and going, will this make enough money to make it worthwhile? So they're probably being very, very risk averse with what they're actually greenlighting, which is why things like Insomniac are doing absolutely fine, because their games have been very, very well received financially. Yep. But other studios just seem to be just being quiet, I think. I think that Sony being very, very cautious with their money, which ultimately is leading to the PlayStation 5 being a bit of a disappointing generation, actually.
I mean, we've said it from time and time again. We've just had very, very little in terms of output, and obviously the generation's been propped up by predominantly remasters, remakes, and third party. Yeah. And ironically, in a weird way, Xbox have put out so many titles on PlayStation this year. To kind of give a bit of clarity on the reasonings behind, so Herman Hulst and the team have kind of put out a statement since, and there was an internal email that leaked where he basically told the talent. He writes, this is Herman Hulst, PlayStation Studio head boss, which again, remember, Herman was also kind of demoted in and around the time Concord failed, and he was moved down. Hiroki Totoki took over, and he was moved into a lesser role, some would deem it. He writes, "Hello everyone, I wanted to share an important update from the studio business. As mentioned in 2025's Town Hall meeting, we had some strong highlights within PlayStation Studios. Ghost of Yotei launched to critical commercial success. Death Stranding on the Beach further showcased our commitment to narrative excellence. And Helldivers 2 and MLB The Show continue to drive ongoing player engagement and revenue. At the same time, we're operating in an increasingly challenging industry environment. Rising development costs, slowed industry growth, changing player behaviour, and broader economic headwinds are making it harder to build games sustainably. To navigate this reality, we need to continue adapting and evolving. We've taken a close look at our business to ensure we're delivering today while still being well positioned for the future. As a result, we will be closing Bluepoint Games in March. This decision was not made lightly. Bluepoint is an incredibly talented team, and their technical expertise has delivered exceptional experiences for the PlayStation community. I want to thank everyone at Bluepoint for their creativity, craftsmanship, and commitment to quality. Where possible, we will work to find opportunities for some impacted employees within our global network of studios. While I know this is hard news to hear, I'm confident in the direction we're heading. Creativity, innovation, and building unforgettable experiences for players remain at the heart of PlayStation Studios. We have a robust roadmap for financial year 26, with much to look forward to in the months ahead. Thank you for your hard work and continued support."
Some of that must be a kick in the teeth for the people working at Bluepoint. It's like, oh, you're amazingly talented, bye.
Praise,
but
praise,
we're very happy
praise,
with the
praise.
direction things are going. Fuck off.
All those key buzzwords in there, that absolute word salad.
Yeah.
Surely, if you read that whole statement and took out the part where he says we're closing them down, you would think it was like an end-of-year appraisal, and you've done great stuff, and we can't wait to see what's next in financial year 26.
It's almost like it's not you guys, it's us, but fuck yous.
But this is where it's like, where does the accountability lie higher up? Because as much as I think Herman Hulst seems like a good guy, and he did great stuff at Guerrilla, and that's obviously what got him the promotion, you can't deny, since his leadership took over and Jim Ryan is a part to play, this whole live service drive and what the studios are doing, it's not seemingly working out, and it does make me really worry about other studios that sat there. Do you think, your opinion on Sony Bend, who were in the same boat? They had a live project service that also got cancelled at the same time. Their last game was Days Gone.
Yeah, I think their days are numbered now.
Do we think it was a case of they both had to pitch, and Sony Bend may have had a stronger pitch than Bluepoint?
If you had to take a guess between which was more like studios more likely to get shut down, Sony Bend or Bluepoint, it's Bend for me.
Yeah,
every single day, Bend's someone getting cut. They lost their head of studio, walked away years ago.
They did,
and they haven't produced anything since 2019, which game decent and Days Gone, but was not overly well received. What else have they worked on?
Bend.
Before that, yeah.
Uncharted Golden Abyss, a PlayStation Vita launch title.
So
in 2011.
Yeah, so the Vita launch title, which unfortunately the Vita didn't live up to expectations. Days Gone didn't look up to expectations. The head of studio's gone. Well, the original head of studio's gone, I should say. And they've working on nothing. Versus Bluepoint, whose every game they've worked on has been a hit.
Yeah, there's. I actually shared. I'll see if I can find it. I shared a tweet on the same night the news went out, purely because it was like it's almost like comical. Again, talking about like appraisals and what you would describe as like a good run of form and what you would want. Where we at? I'll just find it now.
Twitter in months.
So Bluepoint Games, if you just go through like their back catalogue of what they've done, you've got Gravity Rush Remastered, which was a Vita port over to PlayStation, 80 on Metacritic. Uncharted the Nathan Drake Collection, 86 on Metacritic. Metal Gear Solid HD Collection, 89 on Metacritic. Shadow of the Colossus port, 91 on Metacritic. Flower, 91 on Metacritic. God of War Collection, which I just mentioned earlier on, 91 on Metacritic. The Eco and Shadow of the Colossus port back in the PS3 days, 92 on Metacritic. And then Demon Souls for the PS5 launch, 92 on Metacritic. So their last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 projects, albeit not their original work, but the game in itself has been reviewed on Metacritic standing in green, which was good to great.
But there's lots of ways. There's lots of ways you could have used Bluepoint. They've shown they have the technical excellence to produce these games, even if they're not developing these games from scratch. So either you can keep doing the whole remaster, remake stuff with them, which they do very well, or you could use them as a high-profile support studio to help other studios like work on multiple games. You could have them working alongside Insomniac, alongside Santa Monica. So they can produce multiple games and have this high-quality support, like top-tier support studio. That's before you even give them a chance to pitch their own stuff. I just don't...
It feels like one of them things where...
They've had to cut for financial reasons. There's pressure on from their investors to cut costs because they haven't generated enough revenue over the last few years because of the shift, and unfortunately Bluepoint have had and they're currently working with nothing, so they've got 70-80 people there who they're paying 75 employees salaries for zero output at the moment because the last game they're working on got shut down and nothing else has been greenlit. That's what it comes down to.
It's wild to think, like, in terms of just like immediately off the bat, what could you do with employees? Like someone like Guerrilla, who's Herman Hult's original studio, they employ about 400 devs. So this is a small team. This is a quarter of the size of a Horizon title studio. Sorry. And then when you said to that point there, would it not have been a smart decision to say, right, we might have to close the studio for like rent, electricity costs, whatever it is, but those devs could. I know they did say they're going to try and assimilate them into like other teams and other studios. I think they would have been better saying this team is going to move in and be like a satellite studio for Naughty Dog, for Guerrilla, for Santa Monica. And then would it have been really that daft to say like they're going to work on Uncharted 1 remake in partnership with Naughty Dog and just go through the motions? It
all comes back to businesses. So all these studios are registered as their own independent business that happens to be owned by Sony, by PlayStation Studios. So Bluepoint, on paper, we'll have things like they'll have their own CEO, they'll have accountants, like HR, all these kind of people who make up part of the 75 employees. So by getting rid of the studio, they can potentially take some of their key talent, move them to other studios, but get rid of other like supporting roles that are necessary for a business to run. And then on paper, as PlayStation Studios will look at it, because at the moment, PlayStation Studios will be picking up the bill for all the wages instead of Bluepoint paying them. So you've got rid of that outlay and you just move the talent. But it now means the talent studio is gone, that team is broken up and scattered to the winds. So it's... And ultimately, I always think it comes down to people. And so PlayStation Studios have mismanaged their Bluepoint. They could have definitely utilised them for other stuff, and because of that, people have lost their jobs. Apart from the people who made the decisions.
And take home the bonuses and the money and
stuff. Not took pay cuts. So honestly, it's one of them. It makes you think. If the heads of studios across PlayStation Studios, including Herman Hulst, etc., just went, right, for the next 2 years, we're not going to take a bonus, could they have kept all the people in the last few years they've laid off employed? I haven't looked at the numbers, but it'd be an interesting calculus to do. Jason Schreier.
You get on it. It's the thing that baffles me from a business decision is obviously Sony went on, as did Microsoft, a bit of like an acquisition binge in like the early 2020s, didn't they? And they started almost like, it felt like nearly every other month one or the other would snap up a studio until Microsoft went all nuclear and acquired half the industry.
I think it was kind of done after like the Activision Blizzard deal.
And there's barely anyone left, that's why. And we know they snapped up like Insomniac in like 2019, I think, maybe even earlier actually, when they were doing Spider-Man, and that was like for 400 million, which was
Insomniac was 2019.
29. Oh, so actually not as long ago as I thought. But then, if you look at their acquisition history, they acquired Pixel Opus in 2021, which are the guys who did Concrete Genie, which was a lovely little like kind of indie, smaller scale game. Closed them in 2023. So it didn't really get a chance to do anything beyond Concrete Genie. They hired Nixus, acquired Nixus in 2021, and they seemingly are the guys who were on the PC ports. They've just announced they're doing the Death Stranding 2 one that was announced last week. So they're
reported to have worked on Horizon and Helldivers 2 and more.
Yeah.
So
yeah. They're the PC porters, and they're not going to go anywhere because we know Sony are making money off the PC port, so that's fine. Firesprite, they're the ones who did Horizon Call the Mountain, the VR game. So they worked on that. They were acquired in 2021. They did obviously put out Horizon. We know PSVR 2 is dead, practically in the water. They did have layoffs in 2024, but they're seemingly still around.
As is Insomniac.
Yeah. I'm guessing Firesprite are probably just going to be the VR studio for what little output PlayStation VR 2 is.
Yeah.
Like that's about it, and they'll probably go eventually. Bluepoint, we just mentioned, they were acquired in 2021. They've just been shut down effective of March, so that's a big studio gone. Valkyrie Entertainment was one of the little small mobile studios that they acquired in 2022. Don't know what they're up to, but it won't be anything like substantial. The big one for me, Haven Studios, the former Stadia team.
Valkyrie actually, they helped on Concord.
Ooh, that's not a great endorsement, is it?
No, it's not.
But Haven, Jade Raymond. Do we think Fair Games is going to come out and blow the roof off? Or?
I think it's the fact that Jade Raymond left the studio before the game is being released. It does not fill me with hope at all.
Do you think we see Fair Games, or do you think it gets the plug pulled on it? I think
it has to come out to try and recoup some of the money back, because Sony had to pay, basically had to buy, Haven.
Yeah.
So the ownership team at Haven, after they left, Jay Raymond, etc., whoever owned shares in Haven after they left Stadia, will have had to sell shares to Sony. Yeah. So they've made that investment. Then they've had several years of working on the game, and it's seemingly slated probably for this year, I would have thought.
It should be.
If it was a few years away, I think it's going to get killed. But there again, it's also the thing is, at this point, if you've got another crap live service, if this is going to go away with Concord, is it better to kill the game and take the hit before you do any more damage to your own reputation?
Well, it's that risk, isn't it? Because we're going to talk later on about Highguard and what that's currently going through, and we've seen it, as you said, with Concord. And you're right, it's that marketing playoff of do we take the hit and maybe have to refund everyone again? Are we going to be in that same boat, or do they have higher hopes in Haven? The only thing going for Haven, I think, is because it was a brand new studio that was unproven. Sony probably got them for really cheap.
Yes,
if not next to nothing. So probably their overheads and stuff are quite low in comparison.
They probably agreed. They might have even agreed to pay the directors salaries for so many years. Yeah, and that might be what led to Jade Raymond leaving, because that tenure was up.
Yeah. So that's Haven 2022. Who knows what's going on there? Bungie was then acquired in 2022 as well. Obviously, I think since they acquired Bungie for 3.12 billion.
Slipped. At one point, Bungie was one of the most reputed studios out there, and it seems to have slipped down a few pegs.
Well, again, since they've acquired them, I think they've done nothing but devalue themselves.
Yeah.
Destiny's slipping off. Marathon doesn't seem, even though it launches next month, doesn't seem to have a great deal of wind in its sails. It seems better after the beta tests, but again, I don't think we or many people on our channel or our community have much going for it. They also suffered layoffs. So not only that, they suffered layoffs. And remember when Bungie were reported to have had a little look into every other live service game, and that's why The Last of Us was cancelled.
That's part of why they bought Bungie for Destiny and a few other IP. Probably Marathon was pitched at the time as when purchase, we've got an idea to remake Marathon, and then also to take that expertise, which was undoubted at the time and still think should be, and helping Sony with the live service stuff. So, But unfortunately, I think the problem is, I think Bungie's live service games, this is all hindsight stuff, have always been live service from the ground up, where I think the IP that a lot of Sony was pushing it doesn't really suit it. You look at Horizon, Hunter's Gathering.
Yeah.
It looks like a cheap knockoff of a Horizon and Fortnite game. And it's like, it looks misguided. It's because the IP of Horizon doesn't quite suit with what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
Gameplay-wise, it's probably fine, but things like graphically is like, in the way they're presenting some of the characters in terms of the comedy style, it's just like, well, this doesn't feel right for this IP. And now they're committed to that, and we're not going to see a third Horizon game for probably 3 to 5 years. Because they've wasted a few years on that, which is probably going to flop. And
we've seen Naughty Dog with Intergalactic. They wasted several years on The Last of Us Online. That got scrapped.
Yeah.
You've lost Bluepoint now. Bend probably as well. They also
Molecule is like...
Well, I mean, they're another concern, right? Since Dream's epic, 8-9 year cycle, and then subsequent failure... The only reason I think Media Molecule are kept around is because they won a BAFTA.
Yeah.
They're that critically acclaimed, they have a BAFTA, so you can't close a studio down that's won a BAFTA.
I think
because you can kind of promote it as like internal art, like the artsy-fartsy acclaim that comes with a BAFTA of like, we work in the creative arts medium and this and that, and BAFTA award-winning studio. It's like it's got a good marketing ring to it.
Yeah.
But realistically, they need to put something out soon, otherwise I think
it's easy. It can if a studio, as Bluepoint has found out, that doesn't have an open project. Who was it? They made Hi-Fi Rush. Tango. Yeah, they're another one. They weren't working on something, so Microsoft decided to consolidate. So unfortunately, despite relaunching an undisputed hit of a game, they just got axed. But I think, looking at the list, since 2019 of PlayStation acquisitions, I think there's only 3 studios here that I would say are undisputed hits. Everything else is mixed at best, or arguably disappointing. And then 3 studios, that's Insomniac, which is probably their prime studio nowadays.
Yeah, like MVP.
They are the MVP of Sony right now, Insomniac.
Mm-hmm.
Housemarque. Returnal did incredibly well. Saros, I'm fully expected to do, while I'm personally not as interested in it. Yeah. I think it does look an incredible game if you are into roguelikes.
Yeah.
And the other one will be Bluepoint.
Yeah. And I think what Housemarque on that point have gone for them is that they were a small studio who previously only worked on like 2D arcade games like Super Stardust and Resogun. Their globe, the studio didn't really change that much in size, but just their focus and ability to put out something like Returnal and then subsequently Saros, they are probably working on such a low budget to output ratio. It's probably worth keeping them because it's money.
Housemarque is a perfect example of where when these purchases by a big multi-tier studio conglomerate is done well, they kept the talent, but then they give them the resources in terms of finance and time to produce a game that they wouldn't have been able to do otherwise, but then also the connection to that whole network to aid them in the development and learn from other studios. Yeah. And Returnal was the answer. And then they've took that, evolved it, and now the Saros, which I honestly think will be in the Game of the Year conversation.
If it flopped, though, I would worry immediately for Housemarque as well.
Yeah,
because it seems like there are other things like you have one miss and you get no justice done for like, well, what about your previous titles? What about your heritage? What about your legacy?
You might be worried if your Housemarque, even if it's a success. If Sony are very much at the moment in the process of consolidation, getting rid of studios, if Saros comes out, does well, does Sony kind of go, well, you're not working on anything, so bye?
Again, yeah.
Unless they've already pitched the next game. This is where, if I'm Housemarque, I would be very much, before Saros comes out, trying to secure the green light for my next title.
You need like almost like two
projects
at the same time.
Yeah, you want that slight overlap. You want to be in pre-production of your next title before your current title releases.
Yeah.
So you've secured the green light. You know what sort of game it's going to be. You know what direction you're going to take it.
Yeah.
Because it's precarious.
It's mad. And again, after going on such a wild kind of acquisition spread, and again, they bought Firewalk in 2023, who did Concord. So they saw something in Concord that they wanted. They acquired Firewalk. Concord came out, and then they closed them down after the launch.
Well, they saw Overwatch and Concord.
Yeah. So it's all that just really baffles me. And then on the flip side, they opened up Dark Outlaw Games with Jason Blundell for Call of Duty. So presumably a shooter, we suspected. But it's like, but why would you trust a brand new studio from inception but close down a veteran of 8 titles that have all smashed Metacritic results?
Yeah.
Like it does. Does it cost more? Like I think Bluepoint's based in Austin, Texas. Is it just cheaper to have games running in? Like is Ben Studio safe because they're up in Washington, Oregon? I think they're based in. That's where Days Gone was set. Is it just cheaper to run a studio out of Oregon, so they get to stay because their overheads are cheaper?
You know what? That could be enough. I never even thought about it. It's the actual physical space of where these studios operate.
Like employment laws and like medical insurance, like all them like overheads that businesses pay to run. Yeah. In Oregon, is it just like the average wage rate's lower, so it's just cheaper on tax, and they have benefits and perks per state that are better for games? We know a lot of studios open up in Montreal because they have massive tax relief for video games. Yeah,
and like you also don't have to pay health insurance for your employees because of Canada not being a savage country.
Yeah.
Like America.
Back to my previous point. Haven Studios, based in Montreal, Canada.
Probably for that reason.
So you do wonder, don't you? Obviously, Naughty Dog. I mean, they are safe, but could you imagine living in a world where Interstellar doesn't do well? I can't see them ever getting rid of Naughty Dog. But strange things have happened. San Diego, obviously, they just work on the MLB series. They make money because they just do a sports game every year. That's like saying EA, the team that does FIFA, they're going to be around for eternity. Because there's no reason that wouldn't do well.
I feel like when they talk about these studios, something like San Diego is probably in a different category to a lot of the studios we've been talking about.
Yeah, agreed.
I almost feel like they need to split Sony, like PlayStation Studios, to focus on like here's our core, like narrative driven, typical Sony games that you'd expect. You God of War, your Horizon stuff, and over here is our games as a service and spin-offs.
Yeah.
So so you have different heads who are prioritising different stuff for different studios to get the best out of them studios and what their vision is.
Yeah.
But
what else have we got? Finally, we've got Team LFG, which was another newly announced one. This is within a standalone team within Bungie. Don't know what they're doing. Probably something shootery, but again, it's like, why have these studios that you're going to incubate and make yourself when you've got fully fledged studios that could do projects for you, that could take things from inception, put them out to the public? They've got a proven track record. Sucker Punch are fine; they'll do another Ghost game most likely. Santa Monica, they're cracking away at God of War, but you do look at the portfolio now and go, you know what? It's getting really, really small, thin on the front in terms of, like, we've said about the PS5's output this generation has been so slow, and yet they're reducing the team, and it does make me think: are we going to be sat here another 10 years and they're going to have to go on another spending spree and just snap up more in indie studios and grow them because they were foolish enough to get? Who was the team who did what was the racing Drive Club? They shut them down as well.
Yeah.
Which I get because Drive Club was a flop, but
wasn't there talk over the last week or two about potentially the PS6 being delayed by a couple of years?
Yeah, 28, 29.
I honestly, when I saw them stories, my reaction was, "Thank God for that." I don't think I'm sat here going, I don't feel like I've got enough out of my PS5 to even care about a PS6 anytime soon.
Yeah,
I don't want a PS6 till at least 2030. Like, truthfully. Like, why? What would the PS6 potentially bring to improve games that the PS5 can't handle? I think we've got to a point in the consoles where the consoles are good enough, and I really can't see what the upgrade will be, apart from better graphics, which, to be honest, as I've kind of alluded to with 007 First Light in the State of Play, I feel like better graphics can be achieved by just giving studios more time and budgets and stop trying to make everything cel-shaded and look like Breath of the Wild or Fortnite. I think there's 007 First Light looks significantly worse than Uncharted 4 to me.
Oh, it absolutely does.
And there's about a
Absolutely does.
decade in between these. So it's not power of console that is holding graphics back.
Yeah, it's something else.
There's some technologies that could be things like ray tracing stuff, the lighting stuff, but you can improve better art styles and use better implement technologies that are workable on current hardware.
Agreed. Just to round that out then, Evolution Studios was the racing one. They were shut in 2026. They were the guys who did MotorStorm on the PS3. They did that series. MotorStorm Pacific Rim, Apocalypse. Came out with an 84, an 82 and a 77 on Metacritic. They did Drive Club for the PS4. Got a 71 on Metacritic. Closed the studio down 2 years later. And then you think, you've got Polyphony working on Gran Turismo. Is it not good having another racing studio in-house or someone who could... And they went nearly 10 years ago now, but it just shows you they've got a really poor track record of acquiring, nurturing, and then, like...
The gaming industry is totally nuts when you think about it. So Sony are probably at the weakest point they have been since the launch of the PS3 right now. They've got very few games that are coming out that are kind of vibing with the core audience. They haven't been able to attract the audience from the games as a service crowd to their first party stuff that they've released. Like, again, Concord is the absolute pinnacle of this completely missed the mark.
Yeah.
Horizon Call of the Mountain pretty much was universally panned on its announcement. So it's like, but then Xbox, whose actual, technically their hardware is significantly better than the PS5, don't seem to be utilising that very well, but are currently the biggest publisher on PlayStation on Sony. Last time I checked, they are.
They were for 2025 in particular, and I think by the list of games they've got coming out this year, if you think if Gears launches, Halo Re-Campaign or whatever the hell the stupid name is called, Fable, and then everything else in between, South of Midnight's coming out on PlayStation. Yeah, Forza's coming out on PlayStation by the end of the year. We had Indiana Jones. Oh no, that was last year. But it's so weird.
I've just been playing Fallout, which is Bethesda, which is Microsoft.
It's an odd world we live in. But I do think PlayStation need to.
Oh, Avowed's come out as well, actually.
Avowed, yeah. It's just that thing where I think they really need to check themselves and say, right, whatever's taking so long to get games out, if it is pushing this graphic fidelity thing, rein it back in. Because, as you said, games have looked beautiful for 10 plus years now. You do not need to keep pushing them. Yeah.
But like I feel like it's not even that they're pushing them. I feel like a lot of, especially for third-party studios, they're slipping below par.
Yeah.
And is this a financial constraint? Is it just literally costing so much money to develop that they're having to take step backs? Is this an intentional choice to pursue a specific aesthetic that they believe is in vogue, so to speak? I don't know where this is coming from. Like, even with Control Resonant, it didn't wow me. Nothing about that game wow. It looks good, but it doesn't look great. It's like, from what I saw of the gameplay, I remember thinking distinctly that Control looks better than Control Resonant graphically, from what I've seen so far. Yeah.
It's just, in a nutshell, it seems wild. And the internet's rightly reacted the way we have regarding it all, saying that they're being torn to shreds on like social media and comments. And I think everyone was on Bluepoint's side to do the next best thing. And due to whatever factors, leadership decisions, financial decisions, they don't seem like a studio that deserve to go. I
completely think they fucked this one. I know they say they didn't take it lightly, but that just comes across as executives talking. Yeah. But I feel like, again, they could have this. If they weren't happy with the pictures from Bluepoint, maybe they pitch back to Bluepoint, going, "No, we don't want you to do. We don't want to do that. We don't think it's too much of a risk right now. We want a safe bet. We want you to remake Uncharted 1, 2, and 3 to the best of your ability. Get Uncharted 1, 2, and 3 to the standard of Uncharted 4."
Remake them, tweak the story. Do what you did with God of War. Tweak the story a little bit, remake it in whatever engine. Remake it,
expand it. You know Naughty Dog. Ask them what was the cut for time, where they would want to flesh out the story more. and just make these games the best they possibly could be again.
Yeah,
and
it's
a safe bet.
It's your platform's legacy. Absolutely. People would buy them, a couple of million units sold, easy money. It's just wild. I think...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the only studio we haven't actually touched on is Asobi, because they'll be making another fantastic Astrobot game, and we'll probably get it in half the time.
Yeah,
Astrobot took 3 years to make.
They are a success story.
Yeah,
and
but even them were out of the ashes of Studio Japan getting shut down.
Yeah,
so there's a little sad story in there too. But all in all, deeply disappointed, really concerned for the future. Like, again, I'm sure they'll have some absolute cracking first party games out, but it's just the pace and scale in which they're doing it is crazy. And I do really worry for Media Molecule, Bend, Bungie to a degree.
I think Bungie's going to be fine because Destiny 2 is still going. So there's still
we'll
a
just
lot
do
more
Destiny 3.
Yeah.
Break glass in case of emergency. Yeah, Housemark if
that
Saros
might be
is
what
bad.
their side studio is working on, like pre-incubating, working on a lot of stuff for that, separate to what like Marathon.
Yeah.
Oh, anyway.
Yeah.
Shall we talk about?
Sorry, I was going to say in a nutshell way. I joke now with Discord saying that. Isn't it weird how we sit here 6 years after starting our channel, and PlayStation and Xbox seem to be fumbling and making equally bad decisions, if not worse, than how Google handled Stadia? Like, they're making all the stupid, obvious decisions you shouldn't do on all fronts. Xbox messing with the hardware stuff. Everything's in Xbox. Putting Game Pass up. Dropping games out of premium. PlayStation closing studios. Making titles nobody wants. It's like, other than Nintendo, the two of them are just doing dumbass decisions. Stepping on rakes. Sideshow Bob style. Dung, dung, dung. Every single week.
You know what I sometimes come back to? My thoughts were... people, like, when they talk about the industry growth of the industry slowing down, it's like, so the problem with growth slowing down is growth is still happening, and even if growth plateaued, that you can still be profitable. You don't always have to be continually more profitable than you have been previously. But if you are publicly traded, you basically have to, because new investors want to see new investors want to see a return on their investment, and if they're buying to a company that has plateaued in terms of sales, they're not being more profitable than they were the previous year, that means the value of their shares stays or declines, in which case they sell shares, company falls apart.
Yeah, I mean, just look at Ubisoft right now. They are literally trying to dig themselves out of a hole that's only getting bigger. The more they dig, the more the hole gets bigger around them.
To be fair, it's a fundamental flaw in capitalism where publicly traded companies have to be more and more profitable year on year. Yeah. They don't get to sit back and just enjoy being profitable. They have to be more profitable.
A good business. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a ringing indictment of society and everything right now.
Do you know what is good for business, Chris, though? Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green are coming to the Nintendo Switch and Switch 2 27th of February, and they're priced pretty fucking reasonably.
Forget Resident Evil Requiem, Richie.
$16.99, that's perfectly acceptable. It's just that they are ports. I would have preferred them to be Switch Online, but you know what? Next time I want to play Pokemon, I'm buying this.
Yeah. I've never played Fire Red. I've only played OG Red, so to me it's probably going to look like a new game. It's
like the original Red and Blue, but on the Game Boy Advance style graphics with a few improvements to the games, additional content, but they haven't completely fucked up all the mechanics like they did the Let's Go series by making it a weird kind of thing. So it is a proper mainline Pokemon experience. So yeah.
See? So what you're telling me is Nintendo have put a studio to work on making a remaster of 2 classic games from their back catalogue.
I don't think it's
put them out on a new console.
I bet you this is literally just a ROM playing through an emulator. Like,
do you think Bluepoint helped them with the emulator port?
Maybe. But I've seen some cynical people in comments of like Nintendo Life saying, I've been working on my PC, it's working on mine too, but next time I want to play, I'm buying this. Because
I haven't touched my Switch 2 since I finished Bonanza. It's like...
My vision for Nintendo for Switch 2, Switch 1 is all of Pokemon, all of Mario, and all of Zelda to just be there. Whether it's Nintendo Online or you have to buy the versions, but everything, all there.
Yeah.
And hopefully, these games will link into like Pokemon Home as well.
Yeah. And it acknowledges Pokemon's 30th anniversary with the classic titles. I do want to point, there is one sour note, is there's physical editions only being released in Japan, but even then, Nintendo have already clarified that these games will not receive releases in a way that it's going to be a digital code in a box.
So there's no point.
It's not a physical release, really. Which for
unless you want to try and find a deal on like eBay or something for a second-hand copy, it's like, well, actually, no, it's digital. It's called. You can't get second-hand copy. It doesn't work.
Like, second-hand piece of paper.
Amazon may discount this to like £13 at some point, but yeah, I don't know.
Speaking of digital codes, actually, while I remember, and while you do another sniff for audio listeners.
So another sniff for audio. Again, apologies
right
for
into the
calls.
microphone. I know.
Did I?
Need a tissue to blow your nose.
Yeah. Sorry about that, guys.
It's all right. One of the ones I picked up this week, my ears, Sly Cooper trilogy.
Oh, nice.
That's quite a rare one because it's all the other ones. The listing I got it off said only includes 1 and 2, not 3.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I think I own them on the... Like, I've already got them on the emulated Vita anyway, but I just wanted the physical cart. So it says here, download Sly 3, Honor Among Thieves from the PlayStation Store. Voucher inside. And the person on eBay said, only includes 1 and 2. In the description, they were quite clear. They said, only includes 1 and 2. I was like, okay, you know what? It's fine. I only wanted the cartridge and to have it in my collection because it's becoming quite rare. And then it arrived today, and the voucher has not been scratched off.
Oh, nice.
So it is all there. The full collection is there. So now I'm like, oh, that's a win. Yeah. And then on the other side, just to dig deeper into my collecting, I ordered a couple of PS3 Call of Duty games because I had them all, I loved them all, and I sold them all. So I was like, you can get like bundles. People do like bundles on eBay of like all the Call of Duty Modern Warfare. So I was like, all right, decent price, I'll get them. And the guy sent me a box of James Bond games and said on PS2. So I opened the box up and it was like Nightfire, Rogue Agent, From Russia with Love, and then one random GameCube game for, I can't remember which one it was, to which I already have them. So I messaged the guy back and I was like, I think you've sent me the wrong box, mate. You've sent me random James Bond games. He apologised, refunded me the whole price, and then just told me I could keep them.
Oh, fair. Nice.
I was like, what? I was willing to go print off a label and post it back to him and say, I'll just send me the right ones out. And he thinks he sent the other person the Call of Duty and he sent me the Bond. But the fact he just went, you know what, I'll refund it. Don't bother sending me them back. It's my mistake. I was like... So I've basically had a really good week in retro collecting, aside from Pokemon physical. Because physical media, I can pick it up decades later.
And it works.
All in box, on disc, on cart, all there. So, but I'm looking forward to Pokemon.
Yeah, going back to Pokemon, it is confirmed that it will have Pokemon Home support. The level support is potentially debatable. I'm guessing you can only port Pokemon from Fire Red, Leaf Green into Pokemon Home, but you're not going to have the full roster of Pokemon from later games. That would be my expectation there. And there may be some Pokemon that have moves that aren't coded into Fire Red, Leaf Green, that because they came out later, that can't be moved, that kind of weird stuff.
Yeah.
But I think this was actually a leak unfortunately on the Nintendo eStore, because although it's coming out February the 27th, that is when the Pokemon Day 2026 is, and they're planning a Pokemon Presents, which probably is going to celebrate the 30th anniversary of Pokemon. I feel like these were meant to be shadow dropped during that presentation.
Yeah, I think someone clicked go too early. Speaking of other Pokemon Presents, looking ahead, so we'll cover our next week's show. Are we seeing a Wind and Waves announcement?
Yes. Well, it's been announced, but I think we'll see detail.
No, it's not been announced. Remember, it was a leak.
Oh, was it a leak?
No, it was a leak.
Oh God,
it was a leak where we got the box art and everything, and insights into it. So we talked about it in depth because we looked through. It went through. I think the leak showed like what it was going to be, the location. I forgot it all now, but at the time, you and me were like, "That sounds right awesome, up our street." Yeah. So then, but obviously you can imagine it's going to be this December. So,
I would expect Wind and Waves to be here. If it's not this December, the other rumour is a remake of Pokemon Black and White, because we've went as far as Diamond and Pearl in the remake Pokemon series. The next generation is Black and White, so that would be logical to be here as well.
expansion for Legends. Zar?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, it would be thing. So I reckon either Wind and Waves or Black and White remakes are this year, and the other would be the following year, which would make sense. I think they're potentially going for like a 3-year cycle at the moment between new mainline, remake, and Legends potentially. But didn't Legends get delayed into this year? Wasn't it meant to be last year? I can't remember. Or was it last year?
No, it came out before Christmas.
Yeah, it's like, so yeah, Legends took the 2025 slot. Either Wind and Waves or Black and White 2 remake will be 2026. Yeah. The other will be 2027 is my expectation. And I think they'll all be announced here. And I think the Fire Red Leaf Green announcement is the kind of, oh, guys, let's celebrate now. Go back to the remakes of the original Pokemon games.
Yeah. We've also got Pokepier launches, I think, imminently in March. So maybe like a last push for...
Is that the Animal Crossing?
The Animal Crossing one, where you're the fucked up Ditto.
Yeah.
That has its own garden.
Pokemon Champions, Pokemon Go, Pokemon Unite, these kind of service stuff we'll probably still more of. I imagine maybe something the trade card games will have a presence. Pokemon Sleep 2.
Pokemon Snap? Still a thing? Is it Pokemon Snap? What was the online game called that we played?
Yeah, the online one.
You had the card game, the digital card game.
Pokemon TCG.
And then I feel like there was another one.
There was a Pokemon Snap for the Switch.
Yeah, N64, that one.
Yeah, there was a remake.
It got a remake, yeah.
So it could be something like that, but yeah. Oh, yeah, Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness is a GameCube game, I believe. So we could see something about a Switch port. To be honest, do it all. Just do it all.
Yeah.
Why not? It's a 30th anniversary. Just go nuts with it. Like,
Celebrate.
Just space things out a little bit, but give us some nice big things, some nice remasters or ports, and just have fun with it.
I want Rastafarian Pikachu.
If you want Rastafarian Pikachu, fair play, but Ubisoft have confirmed that they have 2 Far Cry games and more Assassin's Creed games in development that they haven't announced because Ubisoft don't do anything else.
They do Rayman games.
No, they don't. They do old Rayman games.
That they also subsequently mess up on a little bit.
Is this a surprise at all that they're working on 2 Far Cry? It's weird that they're working on 2 Far Cry games.
Yes and no. I think one will be the reskin of the map, which we traditionally see with Far Cry. So you get it'll basically
since then.
It has been, but look how long game development takes now.
Yeah.
So yeah, we traditionally see them take the map from the last big entry. So Far Cry 6 was the last big one with Giancarlo Esposito on the front in like a South American island. I could see that being reskinned into something. Don't know what. Yeah. But they'll do something. And then I think when they say the second game that's in development is probably the pre-production for the Far Cry 7, essentially. Yeah. So not overly shocked. I wouldn't be surprised if we got a Far Cry game this year.
Yeah, they'll
see it at Summer Game Awards.
They need something
Summer SGF. And then Assassin's Creed, I can't say we're confirmed, but this is the plus point of Ubisoft is because it is publicly traded. They tell the shareholders this stuff like every quarter. I feel like we get a Ubisoft update.
Yeah.
They have also announced some layoffs in and amongst stuff. But yeah, we've got, as reading from it, the quote says, this is Yves Guillemot, who obviously tells everything. We have a solid pipeline underway across Vantage Studios, which is their new umbrella that covers Far Cry, Assassin's Creed, and Rainbow Six Siege, I want to think Vantage was. Under that brand, several titles are in development, spanning both single-player and multiplayer experience, with the ambition to further grow the community to exceed 30 million players off the back of last year. On Far Cry, anticipation is high, and we currently have 2 very promising projects in development. You got to imagine Assassin's Creed as well. We've got Hex has to be nearby. That was announced when Shadows was. And then we've got Jade, the mobile game, which had pre-orders up on the Android store about a year ago, because I'm on like the wish list for it. Nothing since.
Yeah.
So they could be some of the games that got shut down, for all we know. Or are they just keeping it close to the chest?
I think they're keeping it close to the chest, but to be honest, if I was a principal shareholder who's actually at one of these investor meetings with Yves Guillemot, my first question at the moment would be, have you resolved the issues with the strikes, and why do all your employees hate you?
I don't think he could answer that question.
Then he should be CEO.
Yeah.
I'm
Inside of
being
gaming,
funny there, but
he shouldn't be. Someone said similar to Herman Hulse. Like, what are you doing with this leadership?
If your entire staff is striking, pretty much a huge chunk of your staff is striking because they're unhappy with your leadership. What are you doing to resolve that? Is a reasonable question to ask at a shareholder meeting. Like,
who knows?
But I'd be asking. I want answers to that before we talk about the games.
Yeah.
Because you can have all the plans for every game in the world, but if your staff aren't there making them, then what's the point?
Yeah. Or they've all left to make Expedition 33 quality things.
Expedition 34.
Yeah. Inside the Gaming did say that as part of the recent restructuring, 2 upcoming Assassin's Creed titles were cancelled, including one said to be called Assassin's Creed Singularity. And they've also, as part of the layoffs, the Splinter Cell remake studio has just laid off 40 devs as well. So
Singularity was intended to be a virtual trading card game with Web3 and blockchain integration.
Pass.
So yeah, it's all the experimentation.
That's probably a good decision
with NFTs and stuff like which the entire gaming industry went. What the fuck are you doing? Don't do that.
Absolutely,
we don't want that. Just make games. Make games.
And then in line with the Ubisoft news, I guess we might as well blend it with the Rayman news here. So I mentioned at the top of the show that I played the Rayman 30th Anniversary Edition. I should say thank you to Ubisoft for providing the code from them. I do appreciate that. Played it, enjoyed what I played. It's a really, really solid remake in terms of gameplay. It's got the PS1, I said it last week, it's got the PS1 version, the Atari Jaguar version, Game Boy Advance, and it's got a prototype of Rayman that was designed for the SNES. That never made publication, but it's basically Rayman running in a prototype before they made the pivot to PlayStation, and they did that because they could just get more out of the disc format than they could the SNES. Gameplay is great. It's got loads of history. It's got when they do that digital history where you flick through the artwork, videos from the devs talking about remember making the game. It shows you poster art, key behind the scenes stuff. And when I was playing the game, and if you get a moment to go and watch the live stream, the first look, I play through the opening couple of levels, and you can see in my face, my eyebrows raise suspicion at the start of multiple levels and multiple moments when I'm questioning that something's not right. And subsequently, after the fact, I put the video up on launch day, so it was really fresh out the door. It turns out that the music, which they did say that they'd got someone on board to rework some of the soundtrack, I interpreted that as when they said and to quote, I faithfully reimagined the soundtrack by composer Christophe Herral, who used to work on the original game alongside his former colleague. It turns out this former colleague, Remy Gazelle, he passed away from cancer in 2019, and Ubisoft were unable to sort out negotiations for the original soundtracks for 10. So what they got is his colleague, who worked with him for many years, and they were best friends, to interpret the original songs and do a variation of them.
Okay.
But when I'm playing the game, as soon as the level boots up, I've got so much ingrained nostalgia, and I played those levels so many times as a kid. I get 10 seconds in and you see me go, this
it feels
doesn't
off.
sound. Yeah, there's something, but in the moment I couldn't quite put my pin on it. In a later level or two, I'm like, this isn't the right music for this. And then in hindsight, I've seen side by side comparisons, and as soon as you hear the original, it's like, oh shit, and it's such a disservice because the original music is dead and he owns the rights to it.
So someone must own his estate.
Yeah, well, apparently that's what the ongoing negotiations are. So Ubisoft have acknowledged that, but I don't know if they're going to be able to do anything yet.
Is it one of them where they wanted the original stuff in, but they weren't going
to... Oh, absolutely.
Because it was an anniversary. Unfortunately, the negotiations weren't concluding time, weren't going to hit the anniversary.
Quite possibly. Yeah. So the physical edition doesn't come out until June.
Probably, so with peace in mind.
Hoping to get it printed onto disc before it actually launches for collectors.
Okay, if there is a way Ubisoft, I think, can just be decent here, if they conclude the negotiations, and then just patch the game and give players the choice between original and 30th anniversary music or soundtrack, have it changeable at any point in options. Problem solved. Free patch. So But just communicate this to people that this is the plan as well, because like Ubisoft love to have pop-ups in there, like when you load up the games, like with like the Unity stuff all over Assassin's Creed, you can have a message to players in there that says, we are working on getting the original music. As soon as we secure the rights, we will patch it into the game. Thank you for your patience.
I think what it could be, as much as Ubisoft look like the bad guys in this scenario, it could be a harsh reality where the people who own the estate, they could be holding it ransom for saying they want much, to a point where Remy Gazelle, the composer, his name doesn't even appear in the credits. So it's like, even though he did work on the originals, he's not in the credits.
That's a bit of a dick move from Ubisoft.
But is that they're currently going through a lawsuit and they're not allowed, or a state, whatever legal litigations they're going through? It might be a case of like, you can't use his name because we're currently trying to countersue, or there'll be something why. Because I genuinely think if Ubisoft wanted to do this, they would have
probably
done
they don't want to use his name in the credits, because then it's probably an acknowledgement that they've used his work.
Mm-hmm.
What they could do, though, is a dedication. Instead, dedicated to Bang. So his name appears in the credits, but he's not getting credited for work.
Yeah.
That way you can acknowledge it without looking like a dick and without potential lawsuits. But I actually don't think... I think you're right. Don't mean to paint Ubisoft as the villains of this particular piece. I feel like it's just a case of... It depends on what the negotiations are. Ubisoft might be trying to nickel and dime them.
Yeah.
It could be Ubisoft being like a bit tight.
Stingy, yeah.
Yeah.
Who's to say how much it's worth?
Hopefully.
Well? Like, who puts a price?
An amicable decision is made. They find a number that suits all parties. Ubisoft can credit people properly for the work without fear of legal issues, and then they do the good Ubisoft thing and free patch this into the game.
Yeah, and the physical one gets the print. But unfortunately, Richie, the internet, looking at the comments on this Nintendo article, they don't think like that. Who thought it was a good idea to replace the original soundtrack of this game? It's the main focus of the capitalising nostalgia. Can Ubisoft not make a good decision? And it kind of goes on like that, and it's like, this is people off face value, see the thing, say, Ubisoft got rid of reimagined music or got rid of that, and it's like, it's not the full story, definitely not. But the game, it's so frustrating because the 30th anniversary, the collection is a sum of its all parts, is really good. They've added in features for like infinite lives, max XP, the rewind feature, so they've done their due diligence on the game and its history, and it's let down arguably by the biggest part which makes it, which is the soundtrack, which is where the richness of nostalgia comes from. As soon as you hear that music, you go, oh, yes. But alas, that's the world of digital rights management we live in. That's why Taylor Swift and the Beatles, ELO, all re-record all their art again, because they want to own the license to it.
Yep.
But I blame Apple Music for messing with the entire industry. As soon as the iPod was made, music went to shit as well.
Did you know, though, that Christopher Judge plans to skip the God of War remakes? What's going on here with Christopher Judge and God of War? There seems to be some bad blood at the moment.
No, it's not bad blood at all. He's not the original Kratos, so in the remakes, they're using, as part of the showcase, they had T.C. Carson, who's the original voice actor, to come back. And Christopher Judge, he put out a few tweets about it. He's more than happy with that. He was asked and recorded on a secret camera, one of those camera glasses things.
Yeah.
I believe at a fan expo, people ask him about upcoming projects and stuff. In the video, he says, he won't lend his talents to the Greek mythology remakes. But he did tease other news is coming.
Probably.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, it's not his role to warn.
I just saw like with the TV show stuff, and now this is like, I knew T.C. Carson was the original God of War actor, but I was like, is there some bit of like going on there? Like he doesn't.
He goes on to say that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't read it.
Not so much as this stuff. It was more the TV stuff he seemed unhappy about.
I mean, it would have been a big role for him TV-wise.
Yeah.
But he just gone on to say, like, you'll be hearing... Initially, part of this article, he said he'll be hearing about what we're doing probably late in the summer, which is why everyone's thought Santa Monica are going to announce another God of War follow-up, the proper mainline series in the summer, which will be the next big thing, which Corey Barlog's working on. It won't be a new IP, but it might feel like a new IP, is what Jason Schreier said, which I don't know what the hell that means. So it looks like Christopher Judge is very much still working with Santa Monica.
It again. Because if they've reimagined God of War again, say they've taken to the rumoured Egyptian pantheon, but changed up how the style of the gameplay a bit. Because the God of War gameplay did change from the original trilogy to the Norse, like, two games. Now, if they're changing up things again, then it might feel like a new IP, but while still technically be God of War.
Yeah. And I think we've both said, I'd quite happily let Kratos just go kick ass and take down Ra and Horus and all the Egyptian gods in a different setting. I love it. But TV series, hopefully it'll be good. Did you see the backlash this week about the Sons of Sparta game that got announced?
I didn't see any backlash. What's the problem?
It's not backlash. It's the original creator of God of War, who is the he doesn't work in games anymore. He's basically just like podcasts and stuff like that. He came out and basically said it's like utter shit and a bunch of other things, and criticised it from left to right. And it's basically like the internet have took that, and it's a lot of people are just going like, he hasn't he hasn't done God of War for 20 years. He said like doing a prequel diminishes everything about what God of War means and everything. Which again, I guess
because he thinks he's told the start of the story, and now you're adding to it.
Yeah, but even then, it's a clickbait article purely because it's a guy called David Jaffe who was the original director. So I guess his name lends credence to an article about God of War because you can imagine it, kind of original God of War creator hates new game.
Yeah,
and he's very vocalised. He's very loud and a bit obnoxious and stuff with his thoughts on his podcast and stuff. He doesn't hold back. He doesn't have a filter really anymore, which some people have perfectly right to say so, but. You can imagine the industry and news articles just ran with it of like new God of War game stealth drops, but is also crap and outdated and this and that. And it's like actually a lot of people have said it's a perfectly competent 2D Metroidvania.
Yeah,
it just. But then on the flip side, people have said if it didn't have the God of War title attached to it, it would be just an average 2D Metroidvania. So it's
it's nothing. Each to their own. It's solid but not exceptional.
Yeah, £30, bit of a high price point, but. Yeah. What are you going to do? God of War will live on, or without sex. Yeah,
I was going to say, you could potentially have sex with Aphrodite. So, God of War remake trilogy, the biggest hit thing like about these remakes that since they've been announced is talk about the sex minigames from the original trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
And do people want them in there? So, IGN have run a poll, and 9,000 at the time of recording, 9,923 people have voted, and the question was: should the God of War trilogy remake include the sex mini games? 82.8% of people have went yes, keep them exactly as they were. Where do you stand, Chris?
So I've never played the original ones.
Me either.
However, from many perspectives, as a man, I'm all for a bit of like kinky, horny, sexy. I'm like no filter. Why should we be prudish and go like, oh no, boobs and ass and stuff? Like, I like looking at it. Yeah, of course. Secondly, video game preservation. This is what the original content was. Why change it? Because what's changed? There's nothing racist about it. There's
I'm against it on the video game preservation thing, because for me, video game preservation should be preserving it as exactly as it was, not remaking.
To a degree, if you put a dinosaur skeleton back together, it's still the dinosaur, but it's been
my point
remastered.
Is for video game preservation. If you ported the original God of War games to PS5, leave them alone.
Uh-huh.
But when it comes to a remake, there's I think a reasonable conversation to have is: are they necessary? Again, I haven't played them either. So, are they necessary? Do they add anything, or is it basically just smut for smut's sake?
Yeah. I mean, it says in the article.
My reading is, I gather they are actually quite important as a lean into like Kratos' descent into nihilism and his the lust is so much part of him as a character in their points.
And again, from a, like I said about the preservation point, from a storytelling standpoint, are people naive to what the gods of Olympus apparently did? All they did is drink and have sex and party all day while killing a few humans on the side and then fighting with each other, release the Titans, all that kind of shit. Like, if you actually look at like Greek mythology, Norse mythology, like even if you look at the other God of War series, Odin, Thor, they're all assholes. They all commit horrendous crimes and prank. Like Loki kills other gods and he releases snakes on them and he tricks. Like, it's not the Marvel DC world that we're living in. This is like some horrible, horrible stories. In the IGN article, it does say there's a mini game with Aphrodite, which veers into garnish overindulgence, where you feel like a bully, apparently playing with a childhood friend sat next to an awkward silence. So again, I'm just reading from the article, so it doesn't really make sense, but some of the screenshots look like it's just Kratos just getting it on in like brothels and stuff like that.
The thing is though, IGN are not going to post like too graphic with the screenshots.
They're not.
I think there's this good discussion to have in our Discord if everyone's played this actually. I feel like I don't care about playing a sex mini game in a game. I'm 36 years old. Like, I'm not 12. Well, I'm not like 16, 17. Like, I think you can. I personally feel like you could explore that side of Kratos without me having to button mash for him to thrust into Aphrodite. Is that
maybe
entertaining? Is it entertaining gameplay?
Yeah.
Like
I would say a happy medium would be turn it into a cutscene where you see him engage with the ladies, and it forms part of like a storytelling narrative. Like, he went to a brothel, he got it off because he was depressed, he was upset, he was angry, he needed to let stress out or something. Fabricate it.
My solution is have your cake and eat it too. You tell the story in a different way instead of having people play the mini games. But when the cutscene ends, if you want to indulge, there you go. Walk up to her, press X, and now you're in the mini game.
Yeah.
And so you can have it and also tell the story. It's like in a more tasteful way. I think there's something to be said about graphics as well at this point as well. When it comes to like a sex mini game, the level of realism God of War is currently presenting versus what it was doing in the PS3 era, it's got a stark difference. Like,
but it is an 18 rated game, and they always traditionally have been.
Hence why I would say leave it in, but make it optional.
Yeah, and then I guess the bigger picture is like, is it really that problematic? Like, The Witcher has plenty of sex. How much praise did
it's
get with her bums and boobs out? I can't think of it. Green suit, sci-fi, sold loads, and she had like massive.
I don't think sex in video games is a problem. So that's why. But I think it's like, for me, is it necessary? It depends on the nature of the mini games. Like, again, my solution would be, yes, we're leaving the sex in the game, but you are not pressing X to thrust, kind of thing. Again, I don't know what the mini games are, but again, it's ironic how you get this, but then in the same guise. Do you think Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to come out and be shy about porn? Like, in previous GTA games, you've been able to have strippers in your car, hookers, run them over immediately after, take the money back. I think it's where like, if the sex mini games are too involved, it just looks tacky. Yeah,
I trust Santa Monica.
Yeah,
is the thing.
They've had discussions about this well before they announced it. So,
but at the same time, I feel like it's such a clickbaity article because, one, sex sells, therefore it's going to get it. Controversy, wokeism, whatever it is, it sells, it gets click, it enrages people. Judging by that vote, the audience is clearly in favour of just leaving it as it is. So then, if Santa Monica do anything but, it's going to get internet backlash. Is the game still going to sell millions? Yes. So ultimately, just like with GTA and stuff, is it worth getting wound up over? Or is it just a game? If you don't like it, don't play it. Don't buy it. Move on.
Exactly. Yeah, I would say that if they decide to leave the sex... I personally would make the decision to do it probably through cutscenes and leave the mini games as optional content for those who want them.
Yeah.
Basic cake and eat it too. But if you are very much, no, it shouldn't be in there at all, then the game's clearly not for you because these were in the originals and the remakes.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Agreed.
you have that knowledge going in.
Yeah.
Perhaps you could even have a warning when you come up, like, is it one of the Call of Duties, no Russian? You have an opportunity to just completely skip the level.
Yeah.
And they fill in the blanks. They've wrote the story in a way that fills in the blanks if you skip it. You could have that as an option for people who don't want to indulge.
Or you could do what Dispatch does on Switch and in the game, is just have a big black rectangle covering the dong. And it just, as it flops around in the background, you just see the rectangle move, and it adds a really weird bit of comedy onto it.
Oh, you could incorporate this even further in the game, so at all times there's a horny meter on screen. And every time
he's got his Spartan rage meter.
Yeah, and every time he kills someone, he gets a little bit more horny, and then you have to go find the prostitute to drop that bar.
Maybe. I mean, Assassin's Creed 2, right? Ezio literally hangs out in brothels and uses the ladies of the night to walk around and complete missions and stuff. So, yeah, I think it is a story for story's sake. I understand where it's coming from, but I just think you just didn't need to get over it. Like, you're going to stop Kojima putting the silent in Metal Gear? And Ava in the remake with boobs on the motorbike?
Yeah.
Sex sells, everyone. Hate to break it to you, sex sells. That's why Richie next week, for Shiny Bronze members, is going to get his top off. Well, no, paid members only, Richie. Hide the chat.
You got to give a tease, Chris. You got to give a tease.
Pixelate that in the edit.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. I forget. High on Life 2 is out. Reviews are mixed. On Metascore of 72, user score on 5.4 on PC. Xbox, actually, Series X, their Metascore jumps up to 77. Interesting.
7. It's getting a 7 roughly across the board. Some people typically like it. Dual Shockers give it a 9.5. They said High on Life accomplishes an incredibly rare feat as its sequel that improves every single aspect of the original while forging its own unique path. The addition of skateboarding is a game changer, and the majestic insanity that you can concoct is just oodles of fun. Squanch Games had a lot of work to do in order to both distance themselves from its creator, that's another problem, and ensure the foundation was solid, which they did in spades. High on Life 2's absurdity is a great story, impeccable combat, and a beautiful world, and just a few reasons to explore this sinfully funny shooter. So, Dual Shockers, clearly happy as Larry with it. Screen Rant gave it a 7 out of 10. They said if the team can refine things a bit with the next iteration, they could have another hit. For now, High on Life 2 stands as a conditional recommendation.
I'm glancing through...
Bit of a wet blanket review there.
Yeah, I'm just glancing through the user reviews to see why there's like 36% of users on PC have negative on this, and it seems to be down to technical issues.
Yeah. Well,
so PC, that's probably I was just curious as why the user score was sitting so much lower, and it seems to be technical rather than, which maybe that's just poor optimization. Unfortunately, I feel sometimes I take this a bit of a pinch of salt with PC because sometimes it could be optimized for some hardware and not for all. That is the case of PC. Sometimes you might optimize for an AMD graphics card, but then people playing on an NVIDIA have a terrible time. Oops.
Yeah.
That's where console is definitely usually more stable with this stuff.
Absolutely. GameStop give it a 7 out of 10 as well. They said High on Life 2 may falter in a few key areas and not everything connects, whether it's a drawn-out gag or a timid gunshot blast, but it stands out in a genre where the self-serious shooter is usually king by offering an outlandish, comical and creative alternative. The addition of skateboard is a literal game changer, and there's plenty of joy to be had seeing what exactly each mission entails. Its influences are overt, yet it has an identity of its own, and there are definitely worse ways to spend a weekend. So it seems like it's like a solid, good game. If you enjoyed the first one, you'll probably enjoy it. And it's on Game Pass, so go enjoy, go have fun.
Yeah.
And PlayStation.
Final story for the week. Unfortunately, on the back of the Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 2, Konami have decided to delist Metal Gear Solid 4 and Peace Walker. Fuck you, Konami. Fuck you.
Why do you do it? Like, is anyone really out there buying these on PS3 anymore for you to worry about? Like, why take the PR hit when you could just leave them? Like, people went scrambling to suddenly buy these on PS3 all of a sudden.
Well, exactly. Like, I don't see the point in this. Like, the probably a few £100 they've lost, is it probably inconsequential? They may have seen an uptick in sales on the back of the Master Collection Volume 2 being announced, but why be awkward? I don't like games being delisted full stop, and the only time I find it even remotely acceptable is where it's games as a service and the servers, there's no player base and the servers are getting shut down.
Yeah.
Because that in that odd way is protecting consumers from buying a dead game. This benefits no one. And it's one of them, if you're like, I haven't played Metal Gear Solid in ages, I'll go back to them. I don't want to buy the collection because I largely play on PS3. You've now just lost that sale, so I feel it hurts more than helps.
Do you know what does benefit?
What? You?
Retro collectors.
Yeah, it does.
Because guess who has the game?
Because now it's been delisted. The digital version. Now the digital version's being delisted. That has went up in value.
Collectors who own the game.
Yes, but collectors who want to purchase the game.
Yeah, you screwed them over.
Yeah. Keep an eye on the market, Chris. You might make a couple of quid.
I would anyway, but that's not what I'm in it for, is it, Richie?
Yeah.
As part of PlayStation Retro Hunt, I'm in it to collect and build and appreciate the history of video games. Unlike Konami.
Yeah, true. But that is all we have time for this week. We like to round out every single week with This Week in Video Game History, starting on February the 20th, Chris. Anything jumping out to you?
Off the back of Metal Gear Solid, 8 years ago in 2018, we got Konami's first attempt, without Kojima, Metal Gear Survive, which was, if you remember, was the co-op online game with portals where you went into worlds that included things like zombies to take down.
Never played it.
I don't think many people did, because they were that pissed off by the way they did Kojima dirty, it got boycotted out the wazoo.
At the time, Metal Gear Solid 5 wasn't even technically finished, although it was out.
Yeah. Actually, was it Revengeance? The one with Raiden as a super crazy ninja? That might have been the first attempt. I don't know. But either way, once Kojima left, no one cared. But the one I wanted to get to truly was...
Contra on the arcade, 39 years
massively.
ago.
No, massive favourite of you and me. 15 years ago, Fishcraft was released on the Xbox 360.
Oh, what a
the prequel
game.
to Minecraft.
Some say Fishcraft is almost as good as the Order 1866.
Yeah.
Which came out 11 years ago.
Which is what I was really talking about, yeah.
Yeah, I know. Electro.
11 years.
Wow, Electro was 2 years ago. That felt like a massive thing at the time.
The Order, back to your point earlier about Uncharted, the Order 1886 is now 11 years old, and I'm sure you'll agree probably looks better than half the things we saw at the State of Play last week.
Yeah.
Diminishing returns, absolutely.
February the 21st, 40 years ago, The Legend of Zelda.
On?
The Famicom Disk System. It's the original. 40 years. And 33 years ago, the first Star Fox. Star Fox needs to make a comeback somehow. It feels like one of them IP that's just fallen off. Nintendo haven't quite figured out how to make a modern version of it.
Yeah. Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze came out on the Wii U, where nobody played it until it came out last year on the Switch, and everyone loved it. One of the best 2D side-scrolling platformers to exist.
I want to mention Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii, because I think it's just a stupid name. It's ridiculous. 1 year ago.
Yeah, it is a stupid name. But yeah, good couple of games, good couple of lists, good history.
But that is all we have time for you. If you've liked this episode, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell so you're kept in the loop of all of amazing content here at GamerGuildTV. All our socials are in the description below, whether you're listening on podcast services or on YouTube. Maybe head over our Discord and tell us if you want to have sex with Aphrodite. With that, I've been Richie.
I've been Chris.
GG everyone. Goodbye.
Bye.